Greetings, gentlemen. I'm 6K MMR, and I'm going to tell you why you're stuck. First of all, we need to ask ourselves what we want from Dota. Many people play Dota and they don't want to improve. And this is a totally fair thing. Many people want to play Dota and they just want to have fun with friends. They play Turbo, they play all pick, they don't even play ranked. Many people play ranked, but they don't actually want to improve. They rather want to tilt a little bit and just relieve their, stress or anxiety or just waste time. So there are many things that you can do in Dota without wanting to improve. If you don't want to improve, you will not improve. Easy as that. Okay, next thing. Now you want to improve. This video addresses to everybody that wants to improve. There are 3 things that can happen. If you really want to improve, but you cannot improve, then there are 3 things that are going to happen here. Either you are too stupid to improve, you're too lazy to improve, or you're too arrogant to improve. And to some of you, this might sound familiar. Those 3 things basically are a really interesting thing to handle. So the first thing, most of you are not too stupid to improve. If you look at the average IQ of a Dota player, I would argue that it is probably not all too high. And the next funny thing is that IQ, even though it helps you to learn things fast and to solve new problems quickly, it doesn't exactly predict how well you do something. So you can have a pretty, let's say, limited IQ, and you can still win in Dota just by practicing, by getting the feedback, and then by improving incrementally and doing it often. So being too stupid is not really an excuse. Also, there are many people that are disabled. For example, I saw one dude sitting in a wheelchair and he only had a little joystick on his chin and used his tongue to make his movements, and he was like 3 or 4K MMR. So anything is possible here. There's also a great video from Jenkins where Immortal players are playing against Herald players, I think. Or was it even... I think it wasn't even Herald. I think it was something mid-range 3K or something. And the handicap was that Immortal players weren't allowed to use their keyboards. They still dominated the game. So it's not any part of your genetics that is holding you back for getting better at Dota. To the second phase, laziness. Laziness is what happens often, even though it seems a little bit tough to explain in Dota. There are many people that try to be better at Dota religiously and they keep going at it, and they play like 10, 15 games a day even, and yet they don't really improve. So what's happening here? I think improvement is not only the quantity of the games that you play. Improvement means that you see what is happening accurately, and then you try to change it for the better. Many people just queue, but they do not try to change it for the better, or they don't know how to. Not that they don't know what would be the right move if they think about it. They don't know how to overcome themselves in playing. And this ties really well into the next step, arrogance. I think people are just too arrogant to improve in Dota. This is what happens most of the time, to be honest. People think that they would have won this game if, and then this is the most funny part, if the teammates would have done something different, if the laning would have went this way, if we picked something else, if this guy bought different items, and they have a ton of reason why they didn't win, but usually all of those reasons are things that are completely outside of their control. And then I'm always thinking, why do you tell me this? Especially when I have coaching students and they tell me all the reasons why they didn't win. They say, well, that teammate did this, and he did this and that. And I'm just thinking, I'm coaching you right now. I'm not coaching your teammate. Even though he made mistakes, which is obvious, you made mistakes too. Everybody makes mistakes. That's the beautiful thing about Dota. Dota is just a game where you realize that you make mistakes over and over again. And the difference between us and the pros is that the pros simply do fewer mistakes. But everybody is doing mistakes. And it's not your job to fix the mistakes of your teammates or anybody else because it's outside of your control. It's your job to improve as a person individually. Alright, so let's assume you're not too stupid to improve, and let's assume you're not too lazy to improve. How do we overcome this arrogance? The first thing we need to realize, and this is something I said already, is we need to be observing the reality accurately. And the first step in order to do this is we make a list of all the things that are happening, and then we simply cross out every single thing that is not in our control. This is a very stoic line of thinking, but I think it's very accurate. And we need to be absolutely assured of our positive capability and impact in this world. We need to be consciously delusional. We need to be a little bit delusional and think that we can actually change everything that is happening, that we can control the whole game by ourselves, even without controlling our teammates, that we can solo win this game, that we are the only factor in this game that decides win or lose. So the main goal in order to improve is to be 5% better than everybody else in your bracket. And this is a concept I've been talking about before now in other videos as well. But you need to be 5% better, and then you need to have a big enough sample size. This is actually something I got from Quinn, from his stream. He talked about this concept and I thought it was really clever. So you need to be 5% better than everybody else in your bracket, and then you need a sample size of, let's say, 100 games. After this 100 games and consistently being 5% better, you will see improvement. It's impossible to actually not improve. Dota is not a rigged system. It's not a unfair, manipulated, Valve-controlled game. It's actually a very, very forward-coming game and a very forgiving game, even though it doesn't seem to be that at the beginning. Achieving those 5% means that we need to look at our own gameplay and we need to take the core concepts. Oftentimes there are many situational things that are happening, and it's difficult to exactly spot what's right or wrong in that case. But this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the very, very basics. We're looking for the basics and trying to improve them just a little bit. This is enough to push over the 5% barrier in order to improve. We do not need to get a new concept of the game, to start a new role, to get a different hero because it's not in meta or something. None of this matters. Everything that matters is the things that you know already. You know you need to take the last hits, you know you need to take net worth, and you know you don't have, or you're not allowed to feed. If you just get better at that, building net worth and not feeding, your impact will dramatically increase. And you might say, well, there are certain games where I didn't feed at all and I was 10-0 and we still lost the game. And then I'm sure those things happens. But if you would play on average 10-0 with high net worth, you would win. I guarantee you. That's how Dota works. It's very, very forthcoming. I've never seen somebody play 10-0 every single game and not win. That's not happening. It might happen in some of the games, but in other games you might be 0-10 and you might still win. So we shouldn't always cherry pick the things that are going bad in order to hypnotize us into thinking we are a victim. This is another thing that happens in Dota constantly. People just focus on the bad things, and their reaction to bad things, they are way out of proportion. They react to the bad things that are happening, and as if they would be looking forward to it. They're like, yes, look, this is exactly what I said. I knew if you buy this item, this would happen, and if you go there, then you would feed, and blah, 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 blah. And all of this time is completely wasted. Their CPU brain power is decreased because they're occupied with so many things that have nothing to do with their own capability, with their own playstyle, and with the things that are in control. Instead, we should be looking at the positive things. We should be searching them, looking for them, anticipating them, and I will guarantee you they will become more likely. And then when they happen, I need you to reward your teammates and yourself. I need you to condition your brain so that positive things happen more likely. And this is really difficult because it means that you would actually allow yourself to succeed. And this might sound very, cheesy or whatever in a therapy session, but I think it's exactly true. Allow yourself to succeed and to be happy during a game. Allow yourself to perform well and reward in yourself positive behavior. If you realize that you're queuing game after game because you're tilted and you're surely gonna win the next game at 2 a.m. in the morning, stop it. Relax, get some sleep, do it tomorrow again, and play with a positive attitude and get into the game. All right. The last thing I want to go over is that we need to stop forcing engagements that are not supposed to happen. What do I mean by this? So many times players have a surprisingly good understanding of what the ideal play would be. So they see the map, they see the heroes, and then they're looking at it and they're like, hey, this is what should happen. And then they try to force everybody to join this vision. But people on your bracket might not see the exact same thing that you are seeing. And if you try to force something that they are not seeing, they will blindly go into a new situation that they've never been before, and they will feed like they've never been feeding before just because you forced them to do the right thing, quote unquote. I need you to focus on your gameplay and do very, very small things differently and do the basics better and not invent the game. Let everybody on your MMR play as they always do. Don't force them to be worse or better or anything else than they are. If you are on the divine bracket and you play with other divine people, just let them play like divine people. And what's going to happen is they are going to build you a comfortable fundament that you can stand on, and then you're gonna know, okay, this is what it feels like to be 5k, let's try to be 5% better, and step by step go forward. With this attitude, I think it's far more easy to forgive teammates that are doing mistakes. It's far more easy to go into a game with a positive vibe, because you don't feel this eternal pressure of complete responsibility over everything, and it's easier to actually detect opportunities. If you have a very relaxed attitude towards the game, it becomes more easy to execute even the mechanical side of Dota, and yeah, good things just happen. The last thing I want to say here is that if you do one thing right, if you do a small thing right, there's usually an opportunity that comes with it to do the next thing right as well. And if you do one thing bad, there's usually an opportunity that comes with it to do the next thing even worse. So make sure that you don't let those little opportunities to do the right move slip. And if you acknowledge the little tiny opportunities to do the right thing, then step by step, you're moving in the right direction and more things will open up. Usually, if you get lucky, you will get lucky another time and another time. So being lucky often is what people mean when they did a small thing right and then the world opens up to them. And this flow state is exactly what we want to enter in. So to summarize it, you're not too lazy because you're playing Dota anyways. This is what I see from so many people. They have like 10k hours and they're still legend. So you're not lazy, fair. And you're not stupid, but I think you're probably arrogant. And that's why you're not improving. Now, of course, in the end, I want to have a little bit self-criticism. Why am I not a rank 100 player? Well, because I don't want to be a rank 100 player. Sure, if you give me the skill to be there, maybe I take it, but I even say maybe, because I'm not even sure if I want to just get skill granted for nothing. Like, I want to do difficult things and improve, but I don't really aspire to be rank 100 because I know about the sacrifice that comes with it. I study theology, I like to do music, I go to the gym, I want to do so many things in my life that are outside of Dota. If I would only play Dota and nothing else, then of course my aspiration would be to get rank 1. And then I would go through the same steps, like why am I not rank 1 yet? Am I too lazy? Which is then probably really a good part because you need to play like 10 games a day for like 2 years. Or are you too stupid? Which might actually be the case. Like you never know how gifted other people are unless you put in 10,000, 20,000 hours and then see the difference. Or maybe I'm just too arrogant as well. And I'm thinking, I should be winning and I should be moving forward and whatever. But right now I'm just trying to improve step by step. And as you can see in my stats, I'm managing to do this month at least. And let's hope I can do this in the continuing months. So I want to be at the place where I am, and that's why I'm where I am. And the same is probably true for you. Like in my philosophy, everybody gets what they want. Not especially what they deserve. That's not always happening. But usually people get what they want on the long term. And so we just need to make sure not to lie to ourselves what exactly we want to have out of Dota. Like I've been talking to one guy and he said, well, I just want to win. You just want to win? Okay, buy a Smurf account. Smurf, like 1,000 MMR or 2,000 MMR below your current rank, and you're just gonna win. Easy as that. But then he's like, yeah, well, I don't really just want to win. I want to improve and move forward. And then, that's interesting. So that's a little bit more complicated, but it can be done. Okay, I've been ranting a lot. I hope this was somewhat useful. Let me know in the comments if I'm just rambling or if there's actually something to it. I don't know. I never know, actually. So, yeah, see you in the next one.